Okay, everyone, so let me walk you through the process of creating a prototype. Now, we're going to be using this professional grade site called Marvel Lab. So this is something that professional designers use, and it's really neat. So let me show you how to work this site. So the first thing you're going to do is sign in. Now, the sign in link is in the upper right-hand corner here. There are two options when you sign in. You can either just make a brand new account for yourself based off of your email address, or you can do what I'm going to do, which is to sign in with your Google account. So I'm going to just sign in with my Google account. I'm going to choose my school Kalani HS account. I'm going to allow it to access through that account. And easy enough, we're in. So when you first sign in, you're going to be at a page that looks like this. So we haven't made any projects yet, so we just have a blank workspace. Now we're going to be using the free version, which has some limitations, but they're not going to hamper what we're going to do. One of those limitations, for example, is that you can only have one active project at a time. If you wanted to use this for your own, for your own projects, you could look into the paid version, but we're just going to stick with the free version. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is create a project. So you can see the green button right here in the upper right, create project. And we're going to do a prototype, not a user test, but a prototype. So it's going to ask you for a project name. So I'll just name it, say, like test project. And then this drop down here is kind of important. So this is where you're going to choose what type of device you're going to design for. Now, the coding that we're going to be doing is going to be applicable for both iOS and Android. So you could either choose one of these iPhone versions here, or you could choose Android here. It doesn't really matter because this is going to be just kind of like a rough sketch, like a draft. So the specific device, not so important at this point. You want to choose a phone. You don't want to choose a website or a TV or even a tablet. We're gonna target a phone. So either choose Android, one of the Android phones, or one of the iPhones. So I'm just going to pick this kind of random Android phone. And then I'm just going to create the project. Okay, so then that brings up a screen like this. Okay, now we're not going to use one of the templates or examples. We're going to start from scratch. So we're going to look on this left-hand side here. Let's add some design. So I'm going to click on this button here that says Start Designing. Okay, and it's going to bring up a design screen that has some drawing tools. There's going to be kind of familiar drawing tools. So you can see on the left side here, this vertical palette here, these are kind of your typical drawing tools. You got your pen tool, your text tool, you got your circle tool, you got your rectangle tool. So your typical drawing tools here. Okay, and then this box here right next to that, there's a lot of useful things here. This is if you want to, look for stock photos that you want to use just as placeholders. Okay, or if you want to, use some icons, things like that. There's some useful things in this box right here. Okay, but if you look here in the middle here, this kind of vertical portrait oriented rectangle here, this is where we're going to design our app. So what we want to do is we want to design the different screens of our app. So think about when you're using an app on your mobile device, often there are different screens. Kind of like when you have a website, you have different pages of your site. You can go from your home page to your contact page to your FAQ page, whatever. You have different pages on a site. So it's kind of like the same thing. You have different screens on an app. Okay, so you can just go ahead and start designing away. You can draw stuff in, or you can use some kind of built-in components. You'll notice that I clicked on the palette here on the left. I clicked on this right here. Okay, so this kind of purple set of 4 squares here. If I click on that, what that brings up is it brings up kind of a palette of commonly used parts of a mobile app, commonly used elements of a mobile app. For example, you have a navigation bar, you have a status bar, you have a keyboard, you have different types of things, buttons, checkboxes, things like that. They even have kind of some fully formed templates there. So you can use this or you can draw your own. The idea is that this is a rough draft. It's not going to be, you don't want to spend too much time on it. People call this a rapid prototype, and the emphasis being on the word rapid. I mean, certainly you don't want to rush it and just do a junk job, but You don't want to spend all of your time making your prototype because you won't have time to do your coding. So this is just a rough sketch, or kind of think of this as a rough draft, a rough sketch, a rough idea. This is something that you would show potential funders. Like if you're trying to get funding for your app from people, and you can show them, okay, here's kind of a mock-up or a prototype. This is what I envision the app is going to look like. Okay, so there's, as you saw with the examples of prototypes, there is a little bit of functionality in the sense that there's what are called hotspots. So buttons and things that when you tap on them, it's going to take you to another screen. So it's not a fully functional app by any means, or a fully functional site, but it does allow you to kind of see the progression that users can take through your app. Okay, so this is where you would start designing, and once you have your screens laid out, then that's where you would put in the kind of the progression, or the hotspots that would allow your user to kind of see how they could progress through your app. Okay, so that's how you get set up. In the next video, I'm going to show you an example of how to put in some design elements, and how to make the hotspots, and how to make kind of a functioning prototype.